It's a disgrace. It's so bad for their cricket. To me, this sort of sums up how little these events mean to the West Indies players. And if you look at the way they played, you would say the same thing. Those are the words of Ricky Ponting, the former Australia cricket captain, who possibly, arguably, captain one of the greatest teams of all time. Hello and welcome to everyone. This is the Cricket Forum, your place for the latest news, views, rumors, and gossips in the world of cricket. Please slash a like on the video, share, and click on that subscribe button in the bottom corner. Today, we're going to take a look at the future of West Indies cricket. Now, Ricky Skerritt, and joining me to take that look is Alric Williams and Roxy Stevens, two passionate Jamaican about cricket. And although they are Jamaican, they are talking West Indies cricket. They do not see Jamaica players. They do not see Jamaican players. They do not see Trinidadian players or Windward Islands players. They see West Indian players. And these two passionate Jamaicans are joining me to discuss the way forward for West Indies cricket. These were the words of Ricky Skerritt in a statement that he released. He wrote this in a statement. West Indies cricket is bigger than any individual or event. Now, I would like to hold Ricky Skerritt accountable to this statement. West Indies cricket is bigger than anyone or any event. He has an ideal opportunity to show that this is true because the World Cup players are now here. 9 of those players are contracted West Indies players. If Ricky Skerritt do not issue a statement or advise, instruct these players that they must play in the Super 50, then we know that that statement, that the game is not bigger than anyone else, is rubbish. He has an ideal opportunity to show who is authority and who is in charge of West Indies cricket. Reefer, Charles, Lewis, Cottrell, Brooks, and Carrier are not on any retainer. I'm sure, except for Cottrell and Lewis, the other 4 will play because they need the match fee. The other 9 are on retainer. Will they play? Can West Indies instruct these guys to play? Ricky Skerritt is saying that the event, the cricket, the West Indies cricket, is bigger than anyone. Let's see who has the authority in West Indies cricket, because one of the problems that I think that is affecting West Indies cricket is that the power and the authority rests with the players. Let's see if these players backed out for any reason, being tired or personal or suddenly have an injury. Let's see if there's going to be any sanction. These 9 players are retained by the board. They are paid good by the board each month. Some of them more than $1 million Jamaican dollars per month. They are paid as a retainer. Your views, gentlemen. Let's start with Roxy.
Morning, Mr. Broad and to your viewers.
Morning.
You have touched on a very important point here. And let me say, the decline of West Indies cricket started back in 1995 when we lost the Frank Worrell Trophy to the Australians. Even if we have retainer contracts for these players, it does not preclude them from doing well. And there is something about the pride of playing for the West Indies. And when we were the dominant team in world cricket, these guys were, you would say, underpaid. But they had a passion. They had pride. They knew what it meant for the region, right? And they
Ponting is right then.
Sorry?
Ponting is right. That statement. It means look to these guys, to these
precisely. Yes. And that's where the problem is. So their mindset, and since the cricket has become commercialized, I realize that it has gotten worse. Yeah. So these guys don't have that mindset. They are thinking individualistic. And that is where the problem is. They are not true professionals and play with the kind of pride that is required to represent the region. Now, when we look, and I'm just kind of segueing because I have so much to say. When we look at how the they performed in this World Cup tournament. 2020. Now, a team that played only 2 matches, West Indies being the 3rd match in the last year, and I stand corrected, Scotland.
Yes, just to reinforce the point, they played 2 matches against since being
the last World Cup.
Since the last World Cup. In the last World Cup, they win their 3 first group matches. They win their group matches, went to the Super 12, lost all 5 matches in the Super 12, and since then they played 2 matches against New Zealand, 2 T20. Both of them, New Zealand batted first and scored over. New Zealand scored 220 match in one and 250 odd in one. Only 2 matches. They lost both of them, and both occasions they made 152 and 156.
All right, good. Thank you for that for those stats. Now, that just bear out my point. These group of players are coming out of a tournament, Caribbean Premier League. They play for different teams. So they have been playing active cricket. They went to Australia and they played a number of games. This team played 3 games in the last year, and they couldn't get past them. Now something is seriously wrong. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Something is seriously wrong with these players. Is it skill? Is it mindset? What it is? We need to find out. Because it can't be business as usual. And from an administrative level, we could change the administrators for as often as we want. If the players are not held accountable, then we are going nowhere. And I have not seen that since 1995.
Yes.
I will continue. I'll just give Alric a chance.
Yes. Okay, Alric, let's hear your opening comments.
Yeah, it's an absolute disgrace for the West Indies not to be able to make the Super 12 stages of the World Cup in a group where you have essentially 3 minnows. Because ideally, we can say West Indies is a minnow right now. Mm-hmm. Scotland, New Zealand, Scotland, Zimbabwe, and Ireland. West Indies should be able to get out of this group easily. And as you have said earlier, Scotland has not played, they have only played 2 matches, T20 International, since the last World Cup against New Zealand. And we're still unable to get over Scotland. And we did not do as well as we ought to against Zimbabwe. If Zimbabwe had batted well, West Indies would have lost that match as well. And we showed that we are not ready. And we are not taking the cricket seriously against Ireland. Ireland is, I would say, the second best team in that group. And they made West Indies to look like they were the minnow. You know, they hit off the runs easily. So our biggest problem is that these cricketers, they are not playing enough 4-day cricket. So they don't know how to rotate strike. And our biggest problem in the T20 game is that we are unable in the middle overs to rotate the strike. And this tournament proved to us that the grounds in Australia are very big. There are a lot of gaps. So all we had to do in the middle overs was to push the ball in the gaps and take the 1s, the 2s, and the 3s because the grounds are big enough. Mm-hmm. But in the match against Ireland, our batsmen proved that they are not thinking the cricket. They were trying to hit against the spin to the longest boundary, and they were holding out to the fielders on the row. It shows that they're not thinking. We are not short on talent. Talent is not our problem. It is the mentality. And they don't know how to balance their attack, trying to hit boundaries with picking up the 2s and 3s, especially when the bowling gets tight. And you saw the match, if you watched the match this morning with India and Pakistan. India clearly is a T20 international. They are going to be hitting boundaries, but they're also picking up the singles and the 2s. And they're keeping themselves in the game so that they could make an onslaught. Because India was basically dead and buried this morning.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Until Kohli pulled them out. Our cricketers are not able to...
Not to cut you, I just want to give a feedback. Sheldon Smith, I think he's a Trinidad, and he said not correct. The decline started when Haynes was made captain. That's, I guess he's talking to Desmond Haynes, and he's saying Roxy, although Scotland weren't playing in the ODI, they weren't playing in the T20. They were playing ODI, and then Trinidad and Tobago Limited. The downfall of West Indies cricket started back in 1995 against Australia. So continue, Alric. Just reading some comments that are in the chat.
Yes.
Yeah, so our biggest downfall is that we are not thinking the cricket properly. And the captaincy in this tournament was really atrocious. I'm not sure if we're going to talk about that, but the captaincy of Nicholas Pooran left a lot to be desired in this tournament.
I know Sheldon Smith is going to take you on about that in the chat because he's very passionate about the captaincy of Pooran. I've heard him on other forums talking about that. But we are going to talk about what you want to talk about. But moving on, because I really think that CWI president Ricky Skerritt can make a statement. He can say, guys, you are contracted West Indian players. You have to play in the Super 50. I really think for him, when he comes out and says the cricket is bigger than any individual, I am asking Skerritt shows that it is bigger than any individual.
Absolutely.
By insisting that these players don't find any excuse and play in the Super 50. That would be a statement. That would be a big statement forward. It will show that it's not the players who have the power. Because I think that's one of the problem with this team. The players are the one who has the power. I'm sure the coach, Simmons, is there and he knows he can get these guys to play better, you know. But Simmons does not have the power because the players has the power and they do as they feel. I know of one of these players, one of the 9 contracted players, who Eswick came up to him and said, we are going to work on something in your bowling. And the man said to Eswick, boss, just give me the ball for bowl, man. What are you talking about? Maybe those were not was the word, the exact words, but that was the theme of what he said. You know? So these guys, they have the power. When we lost against Scotland, if Simmons had the power, those guys should be running 20 laps or 21 laps. But the players had the power. You know, gentlemen, your views.
Look,
your views on player power.
Let me say this. When we started as
Alicia Esby said we keep mandering and sidestepping the real problem. Adams and the rest needs to step down. They failed cricket West Indies. The players are a product of their environment.
That might be a point there. Yeah, but I'm just saying that when we started, when we became a dominant force in 2020 competition, our style of cricket, be it test or one day international, we were like a swashbuckling kind of team. And so it was well suited for us when 2020 came around, right? And so we had some big hitters. You know them. And we were doing well to the point where we won the tournament, right? Now, what the world, and they did that with us when it comes to test cricket and one-day cricket. When we were dominant, they learned from us and they became better at it, right? It is the same thing all over again. When Clive Lyde went to Australia and we were walloped, he learned from them and said, well, the next time I am going to play a 4-prong pace attack. And we were dominant for years, right? So these guys don't understand the history, where we're coming from and how we can evolve. They have not evolved. The other teams have evolved. They have passed us. And Alric made the point. The grounds in Australia, they are big. You're not playing in the Caribbean where the grounds are small. So you miss hit and it gone for 6, right? They are trying to, and they are hitting on the big side of the ground. They are not thinking the cricket. It's not for a lack of talent. It's the mindset. It's understanding the game, right? I am not seeing that. And that is our downfall. And the players must be held accountable. And what people can talk. You can talk as much as you want if you don't hold the players accountable. And one of the things is that these guys, they know that they have no real commitment to West Indies cricket. I can tell you, because of the commercialization of the game. So they can go elsewhere and make money. You look at a Hetmeyer. Hetmeyer has been a disappointment. He won the Youth World Cup, and we invested in those players. And where is he today? He has found other reasons not to represent the West Indies in this World Cup tournament. You get what I'm saying? And we would have invested in these young players, expecting them to carry the team in the future. He never had to fight hard to make the test team or the one day or the 2020 team. You understand? But they can make their money elsewhere. And so the commitment to West Indies cricket is not there. Now, if you are going to lead, you have to ensure that these players who think that they can go elsewhere and make their money, then you go there and make your money. Those who are committed to represent the region, we play them. Right?
Alec?
Yeah, and that's the real issue. The commercialization of the game has really affected how these players view their commitment to West Indies cricket. And the point that Ricky Skerritt made about no player, no one individual is bigger than West Indies cricket, is they would have to show that is true. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of these players, they want to jet set around the world and make their money. And many of them have refused to play for the West Indies. For example, Russell, Narayan, all of these players, you notice when the World Cup was coming up, they were looking forward to being in the World Cup squad. Mm-hmm. But yet still, when West Indies reached out to them to play, so the team could gel and have that chemistry, so they can try new things, they were not available. They made themselves unavailable. So we need to select players who are committed to West Indies cricket.
Yep.
Because the board is not stopping them from going overseas to exercise their right to play franchise cricket. But at least you should make themselves available to represent the West Indies when there are tournaments or there are series going on. So these players, they are not really committed. They want to go to the World Cup, but they don't want to play with the team before we get to the World Cup. And if Ricky Skerritt is to be believed that no player is bigger than West Indies cricket, they need to stamp their authority, because these players are getting away with a lot of things. And I was glad that a viewer mentioned about Adams. I'm glad that Adams took the stance that, Hetmeyer, if you miss this second plane, you'll be out of the World Cup squad. And I'm in 100% agreement with that stance, because players must know where their powers lie and where it ends.
Yep.
Players have power, but administrators, they must administrate the cricket for the best interest of West Indies cricket. And I have no problems with them leaving out certain players or not picking certain players until they can show their commitment to the cause. Because it is not for a lack of talent, it is a lack of commitment and a lack of proper cricketing smarts why West Indies cricket is where it is. Administrators have a lot of blame to bear as well, because over the years they have not taken West Indies cricket at heart, and some of the decisions that have been made over the years is the reason why West Indies cricket is where it is at this moment.
Thank you for that, Alric. Now, we talk about, you bring up Russell and Gale and Pollard and those guys. But we must remember that at the last World Cup, because we had won the 2016 tournament, we were automatical qualifier for the Super 12. We were one of those 8 nations that were in the Super 12. We must remember is that because in our Super 12 group, with all these players, the Gale, the Pollard, the Russell, and the Simmons, and the Rampal, that people are calling for this time around, it was their performance when we came 6th in our Super 12 group, which eliminated us to round 1 in the World Cup. So they were the first players to eliminate us out of the main group to this preliminary group. And maybe this team that went to this year's World Cup, They should have been the one that have gone to this World Cup, the World Cup last year, and then would have been probably a better team this year with they going with that experience. So when people are calling for Russell and Pollard and Gale, they must remember that they were the ones who were playing when we were eliminated from the main group, from the Super 12 stage. They were the one who were playing. Gentlemen.
And so in the last World Cup, these players, Gale, Pollard, Russell, Simmons, these players were woefully out of form. And that was clear for everybody to see in the last World Cup. These players misfired. These big hitters, they didn't produce the goods. And that is why we were eliminated. So there are a lot of people who were players who were in form that were not selected in the last tournament because we are saying that Gale and especially Gale was a swan song. And Gale was woefully out of form. Back then last year, I think Gale only scored only 150 in how many games in T20, but he was selected. So last year, these players were woefully out of form. This year, players were picked who were in form, but they did just not perform up to standard. The batting, I think the batting lineup was, and when you look at Evan Lewis, talk about Evan Lewis, because he was one who failed to even get himself to a certain level of fitness. And I was even surprised why he was included in the World Cup squad, having not played for most of the year, this year in T20. And we had so many opening batsmen in the squad. And how they selected the batting lineup, I believe that Brandon King, based on his form in the CPL, should have been an automatic opener along with somebody else. And we kept trying Kyle Mayers, and he had a reasonable good start at the opening spot, but I believe that having failed in a number of games, they should have tried somebody else because we had so many openers in that squad. And I believe that Brandon King should have opened the batting in some of these games.
Okay, Cabby from Trinidad, who is Trinidad and Tobago, he's saying that the main players is the cricketers. The players themselves are the problems. The batsmen have been the players for a year. It is not the coach, but it's the players. Now, Alicia SB saying, when we discontinue the selection of players based on past performance, we will have a fighting chance. Roxy?
Yeah,
what's your views on those players who got us eliminated and the comments that I read?
Let me say that would be a retrograde step. And I totally agree with your view and also Ulrich's view on those players. The mindset of the selectors to move away from those players.
Not to cut you, but I just read in the comment, because that's part of the conversation. Go ahead. But Ulrich, Akeem Alain is agreeing with you that Kyle Myers was ordinary for the tournament. Go ahead, Ed. Go ahead, Roxy.
Yeah, man. So for them to have selected this squad, excluding those players, would have been the right choice, right way to go. So it boils down to the players, how they acquit themselves. Did they do well? No. Brandon King, who was the inform, and Kyle Mayer, who did well in the CPL as well. But did we have that batting lineup in the right order? I don't think we did. And I agree with Ulrich that Brandon King should have been at the top of the order. Yeah?
Okay. Now, and please remember to click that subscribe button in the bottom right hand corner. Please put your comments in the comment section. I will read as many as I can read. I don't promise you I can read all of them, but I'll read as many as I can read. But as we said at the beginning, and I probably keep on emphasizing this, Cricket West Indies have a golden opportunity to stamp their authority by instructing these players who are coming back from the World Cup to play in the Super 50. And if they don't play, there should be sanctions for these guys. Now, there's something that is a lot of persons do not realize this. We come in fourth in our zone in the World Cup. You know what this does? For us to qualify for the other World Cup, but there's one saving grace. You know the saving grace is that we and the US are hosting the next World Cup. If we and the United States of America were not hosting the next World Cup, you know what we'll have to do to get back to the next World Cup? We'll have to go around the world playing against teams like Singapore and Canada and the USA and Hong Kong and UAE and those type of countries. That's how bad it is, you know. The only saving grace is that we are hosting the next World Cup. So we'll automatically qualify for the preliminary group, the same group that we were in this year, round one. If we weren't hosting it to reach round one, we'd have to travel all over the world playing against these countries, these associate countries. That's how bad it is. And people don't realize. Roxy?
Yeah, it's pathetic, man. It's pathetic. It's a disgrace, to be honest with you.
Yes, Akeem, we are getting the echo. We're trying to fix it, but we're having a challenge. We are fully aware. We are fully aware of it. Thank you, Akeem, for the comment. We are fully aware. The problem is not so much the players, but our ability to bat. But it was seen in the test matches and now in the T20s. The West Indies coach is not here to teach people how to bat. The problem lies with the local coaches. That is Kermit 7999. Go ahead. Alisa Esby Puran was gifted the captaincy to be assured of a pick. Look at his last 10 games. It is dismal. Go ahead.
Which is what I was about to say. So our batting is what has let us down in this tournament. The bowling was
Mangal Singh is saying that someone has their TV volume up. Do any of you have on your TV?
No.
All right, go ahead.
My TV is
up. So the batting against Scotland, Zimbabwe, and Ireland, West Indies should be making at least 180 easily against these teams. Our batting let us down. Puran was not in any form. Puran's last 10 innings, he has scored 94 runs. His last T20 international innings, 94 runs at a paltry average of 9.4 runs per innings. As the captain, if you as a captain not pulling your weight, you'll have no more authority to be chastising any of the other players or the batsmen.
Yeah.
So Kyle Mayers did not do that well in the tournament. The batting was hit and miss throughout the tournament. And if they were playing a lot of 4-day cricket, red ball cricket is a very simple game, you know. It's about doing the fundamentals right. You pick the gaps, because even in the match, Johnson Charles they were trying to basically, most of the batsmen were trying to hit the cover of the ball. When they could simply
Alec, I don't want to miss too many comments. While the community will forgive me for missing some of the comments, they won't forgive me for missing all. Malgal Singh is saying that Simmons should not be coaching the T20 team because he has never played T20.
I agree.
Sheldon Smith is challenging in the fact that West Indies will have to qualify because it goes by ranking. Not true, Sheldon Smith. Not true. These 12 teams that are now in the Super 12 stage, the teams that finish from 9th to 12th, they will demoted to this first round that the West Indies was in this year. The other 4 teams that was in the first round that West Indies were in, those 4 teams will have to play off to reach back to that round. Not true, Sheldon. Check the fact. The only saving grace, as I said, is that we are hosting the tournament, so we'll be automatically in. Check the fact. Someone is saying that that's Cabot, the Trinidad guy, is saying that we should change Myers and let King open with Charles. Instead of going with the same stupid idea with Myers opening and failing the bowling, we should have Yannick selected. Go ahead, yeah. Go ahead.
I think Alric alluded to it, and I was about to, where I think the cricket is, it doesn't matter which aspect of the game you're playing. It's basic. You have to apply the fundamentals. So whether you play Test cricket, 1 day, 2020, And if you notice, the other teams, other than some specialists, but there are some players who would have played all versions of the game in their team. Not that we don't have them, yeah, but ours are not doing well. They are not making that transition from the test to the 4 day to the 1 day to the 2020, and failing that. And that it is playing out now because we are not playing in a 4 day game, right? And that's how you make the adjustment. It's building that on that foundation. You can adapt from one version of the game to the next, but it still, you still have to apply the basics.
Foundation.
The foundation, it starts right there, so you can switch to all the other forms of the game. Once
Alisa, as we saying, the elephant in the room, until we get rid of the elephant in the room, Simon should not be the coach. Akeem Alian is saying that West Indies should partner with CARICOM and the CPL to build academies in each region. Someone is saying that we should get Chandapal, that Chevron Crandon is saying that we should get Chandapal to coach. Why isn't Darren Sammy, who was captain to win 2 World Cup, part of West Indies cricket? Well, he's a part of West Indies cricket. I think he's a director, Mangal Singh, and call names and shame the devil, the coach. This is SB. Call name and shame the devil. The coach don't know his bed head from his bed foot. Come on, SB, you're beating too hard, Let us be a little more cordial. I understand you're a hard beater, but let us be a little more cordial, SB. But there's a poll on the home page. I put up a poll on the home page and I saw Sheldon Smith commenting on it also. And 15% of those persons think that Simon should stay on as coach. But the other 85 don't think so. 16% think that he should only be the red ball coach. But only 15% think that he should stay on as coach. So it is very grim. The situation is very grim. And the fortunate thing is that we are hosting the next World Cup. Because if we are not hosting the next World Cup, this team would be under so much pressure.
You know what is ironic? We're talking about, and we are looking scapegoats now. You hear?
Yeah.
We're talking about who should be coaching the team and why Simmons should not coach a team. When Simmons was a coach for the Ireland team, we thought that Simmons was doing a very good job with Ireland. So we recruited him.
Right.
Having looked at how this team has performed under his leadership as the coach, is that the same Simmons who coached Ireland and brought them up to a level?
Thursday night I was wondering.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, sir, when you look at it, when you analyze, it boils down right back to the players. How you plan, how you execute. I don't see any planning going into, those plans are just so weak. People can't make decisions on the ground. If you have a plan and it's not working, how you switch. And that goes to leadership, the captain, the vice captain, that kind of thing. And Koran, no, it's out of his league. Maybe Powell would have done a better job looking at him in the CPL, how he handled the Talawas team. So it all boils down to leadership, planning, mindset, execution.
Yes, Alric.
So as we do the sports postmortem on this failed bid or whatever we call it, the failure to get to the first round, there's a lot of blame to go around.
Chevron Crandon, you said true. Which particular comment you said true to? To what Roxy just said just now? Go ahead, Alric.
From the administrator, the coach, captain, and the team. So yes, the results have not been coming Simmons' way. Simmons need to be relieved of his job. That is not in question.
But Ishmael 1981 coaching is a part of leadership.
Exactly.
So he said that coaching is not the problem, leadership is the problem. But you mean leadership at the top? You mean Skerritt and Adams and those guys? Because one of my problem, Alric, not to cut you, I believe that anybody who coach the team if they do not get the authority and the power and the backing of the president and Adams and those things, the players will continue to have the power. So Ishmael may be onto something that coaching is not the problem, but coaching is part of leadership. So the first part of your sentence may be right, but the second part is not so, you know. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, so
we asked Chanderpaul to coach the team. We don't even know if he can manage the Skinner side. We need someone who the team members will respect. Go ahead.
Coaching is definitely a big part of our problem in the white ball game. Simmons is doing fairly well as our test coach, but he's out of his depth as it relates to white ball cricket. And I'm not saying he should be relieved because he never played T20. That is a fallacy. Yeah. You don't have to play the game to be able to coach the game. So I'm not going down that road. But the results and the strategy that are being employed, and it is evident in this first round. Because if, as the coach and the captain, you're going to continue this failed experiment of opening the bowling with Kyle Mayers, that has not worked. So I went and did some checks on Kyle Mayers. He has played 20 matches for the West Indies. He has bowled in 8 of those innings. He has bowled 12 overs. He has conceded 120 runs without taking a single wicket. And in the 6 of those matches that he opened the bowling, he has not bowled his quota 4 overs. In the first match against New Zealand, he bowled 1 over for 8 runs. Second match, 2 overs for 17 runs. Bear in mind, no wicket. Against Australia, as for the warm-up games, he played 2 matches against Australia. First over, 11 runs conceded. He bowled 2 overs in the second match for 19 runs. And they still continue to persist with Kyle Mayers. So we get into the first round of the tournament. He has not taken a wicket and he has been very expensive, not economical. Against Scotland in the first match, he bowled 2 overs for 24 runs, no wicket. And in the match against Zimbabwe, he got 1 over for 17 runs. He did not see the ball again. Yeah. And I was waiting to see if he was going to be given the ball again in the match against Ireland. He did not get the ball at all. So this failed experiment, and if the captain and the coach could sit down and see that this man has failed to deliver, he's not potent. And for the life of me, I couldn't understand why Alzhir Joseph, our most potent, our most accurate, our most informed bowler, did not get the new ball. What more must he do? In Zimbabwe, he was the one who basically saved our blushes from losing 2 on the trot. And in the third game, they did not give him the ball to open the bowling. It is a captaincy and a coaching problem. The strategies that they are using are not accurate. It's not correct.
Yeah, Kermit is saying why Kermit 7999 is saying, why are we taking so long for firing to start? Why is Simmons and the coach and Puran, why is it taking so long for it to start firing people? That's what Kermit is saying. I am passionate about cricket. I was introduced to cricket at a tender age. I can't be less than brutally honest. Heads must roll. Players should also be accountable as well. That is Alicia Esby. She's very passionate about cricket. She's very active in the comment. She looked like a very nice young lady. She have a very beautiful pitch and smile here, but she's very passionate and it looks like she beat very hard. What do you say about those comments, Roxy?
Absolutely correct. Head should roll. I don't think Simmons should continue coaching the team. I don't see Puran as a inspired leader either. So we need now to revisit and come up with a better strategy.
What do you think, Eric? Sorry, Roxy, I never meant to cut you off.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer, really. Simmons cannot continue as the coach of the team. And I would go so far because I don't believe West Indies will have a test coach and a white ball coach, because they'll be paying 2 monies, basically, to 2 coaches.
We're going to come to the money part because I have something very interesting to share about the money part. Yeah? So bear in mind that we could afford 2 coaches.
I think so. If we are serious, we should do that.
If we are serious.
Exactly.
Yes.
So if money is not an issue, Simmons could be retained as the test coach because he's doing fairly well in that. We can see some improvement in the test game.
Yes.
But he's not cutting it as our white ball coach, and the results have shown that he's struggling.
Ishmael 1981 said the players need to be held accountable for their individual performances, as they are the one getting better, which is an indication of them not putting in the work. I agree. You have to blame coaches and players because the staff is what helped to create a culture that helps the players to be comfortable and play with love for the game and the fans. That is Joel Gullin. And Kermit 7999 said, when is Simmons' contract up? I think it was a 4-year contract that he signed, so I think 2 years remaining on it. I don't quite remember, but I think 2 years remaining on Simmons' contract. Now, gentlemen, we spoke about West Indies need to play more red ball cricket to develop their game. Because most of these teams, if you look at the teams that are at the top of T20 cricket, they have a number of red ball cricketers in their squad. There's no doubt about that. They do. All the teams. Babar Azam is one of the top batsmen in the world. He's in Pakistan team. Mohammad Rizwan played test cricket. David Warner played test cricket. The list goes on and on and on. All of these top countries who are at the top of the T20 ladder. Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul, who opened for India in the T20 up to last night, up to early this morning, they opened for India. Those are the same two opening batsmen in the test team. Virat Kohli is in the test team. So there's a consensus that for us to do well in T20 cricket, we need to start playing more red ball cricket. Now, earlier this year, the ICC released their FTP, that's the Futures Tour program for the next cycle from 2024 to 2027. This is the West Indies cycle. So from 2024 to 2027, West Indies will be playing 147 matches, only 26 test matches, 48 ODI. But look at the number of T20 that they'll be playing. 73. So are we heading in the right direction by playing 73 T20 internationals and only playing 26 tests? Is it that because the T20 international brings in the money while West Indies have 73 T20 to play in this short period of time? It does not include World Cup matches. It does not include the 3 matches against Pakistan that have been postponed. It does not include that. So if you had those 3 to it, it's already 76. It does not include the other, as I said, other T20 matches that they'll play like World Cup matches and so on, and tri-series and so on. The only teams that are playing less test cricket than us are Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, and Ireland. Gentlemen, your views.
Let me ask a question. The Futures Tour, is it organized by ICC?
The countries negotiated it. It's a collective agreement.
So what I'm seeing here is that because we are not doing well in test cricket, so we're offered less test cricket to play. And now we're not doing well in 2020, we are given more. So I don't understand that Futures program itinerary. You understand?
Yeah.
We are seen as this 2020 guru, but where are we? We are out of the World Cup 2020 tournament.
Yeah, and that 73 T20 international is more than any other country that is going to play.
There you go.
We are going to play more T20 national than any other country. I think only India came close to us. I don't quite remember India number, but those 73 T20.
So even from a financial status, is it that we are more attractive in terms of garnering more funds, finances? I don't know, because the team is not attractive.
Yeah.
It just jumped out at me a while ago. You know,
gentlemen, when I read the comments and you're talking, as soon as I finish reading the comment, just continue, right? It's not that I'm breaking you, but I have to have the audience involved in the show also, and you would appreciate that. Akeem Allen said he could see Argentina beating the West Indies in test match. You can go ahead. Can go ahead, Harry.
So in order for earlier you talk about the 4-day cricket. It is much easier, and the teams that are doing well in T20 are those teams who have test players or players who play all formats. So it is much easier for you to adapt your game from test cricket or ODI to the T20 game. Because in test cricket, the fields are spread for the most part. Within the first hour or two, the field might be in trying to build pressure. But once the pitch has evened out or flattened out and you're not getting much out of the track, the fields are normally spread. So in test cricket, players have to adapt their game to pick up the singles and the twos, along with occasional boundaries. So once you have that base, that platform, as a test cricketer, it is much easier because it's easy to swing your bat.
Yes.
For 4s and 6s. But it's a lot more difficult if you are not accustomed to picking up the 2s and 3s to do that, especially when you're under pressure. So it is easier. So the teams that are doing well, like India, England, Australia, these are the teams. New Zealand, which I'm bringing to win this tournament, by the way.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
These are the teams that have the ability to adjust their game and to pick up the 2s and 3s, especially in the middle overs, which is critical because it is expected that you are going to target the first 6 overs in the power play. And when it's happy hour, in the last 5 overs, you are going to go hell for leather. But in the middle overs, from about 17 to 15, this is the time when they need to be picking up the singles, because if you get a single of 5 of the balls and you can get one for a boundary, that's about 9 runs easily.
Yes. And 180 is going to win more T20 than you lose. Exactly. When you make 180,
you lose.
Yes.
So for us to not be able to sink the cricket and to pick up the 1s and the 2s and the 3s, especially on these big grounds, in the middle overs, is what is killing our cricket. West Indies players need to adjust their mentality because everybody was trying to, and you saw it in the match, everybody was trying to prove how strong they were, to hit the ball out of the ground. And they're not even smart enough to know that side of the ground is against the wind. They're going against the wind. So they're trying to prove that they are supermen, trying to hit the ball out of the ground when they could easily pierce the gaps and pick up 2s and 3s. And that's where we are losing the cricket. We're not thinking the cricket.
And that's what Joel Golan is saying, that the fundamentals, we don't have the fundamentals. You know, that's basically what you're saying. And
yes.
Yeah. Alisa SB agree with you, Loxley. She said that she think New Zealand have a very realistic chance in winning, but her team is Pakistan. They have a good all-round team. But Alisa SB, you get one this morning. Hold that. Sherman Rogers said, I don't care what people say. King should always open in T20. Yes, so you have a fan agreeing with you. You have a fan agreeing with you, Roxy.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the right thing, you know. It's the right thing.
Gentlemen, I have put forward the Futures Tour program and the T20 internationals. Some time ago, we heard Kieran Pollard calling for more T20 to be played in the region. I do not necessarily agree with that, because I agree with him in the sense that we could have a T20 competition for our regional players alone outside of the CPL. But I think before we reach there, we probably need to play a 3rd round of regional 4-day cricket instead of only playing 2 rounds. I guess this year we play only 1 round. So maybe we need to play 2 rounds or 3 rounds. But the guys must need to play more cricket. Now, I'm going to put up some figures. I'm going to put up a figure on the board. And at first, I wrote 4 million. But I want people to see how many zeros involved. So I moved the million and put it in figures. 4 million per month from January 2024. Now, this is no official figure. This is my calculation based on what it is projected that the ICC is going to earn from media rights, from sponsorship and gates receipt for their event. Also, for what West Indies is going to earn from gates receipt for hosting tournament in the Caribbean, for hosting cricket in the Caribbean and media rights and so on and advertisement. My calculation, and as I said, this is no official calculation, and I base it on past calculation and projected earnings, is that come January 2024, West Indies Cricket Board will tend to earn 4 million per month. If it is not 4 million, it is very close. And I challenge Skerrit or any one of them to challenge this figure, because I know what I'm doing, and I'm saying that although this calculation is not official, it's my calculation and based on projection. I want to make that clear, that it is based on projection and it is my calculation. It is not an official release, but it is very close to what is going to happen. The West Indies Cricket Board is going to earn a minimum of $4 million per month come January 1, 2024. What is the first thing they should do with this money?
For me,
48 millions per year, US dollars.
I think, all right, let me say this, because that's some decent money coming into the coffers there. I don't think we have seriously looked at our structure.
Not to cut you, but presently it's about 1.33 millions per month they are earning, about $16 million per year that they are earning from the ICC as disbursement.
Yeah, so I am saying,
and that's West Indies.
West Indies, yes,
yeah,
man.
I think we have to look at the structures, right, from the grassroots right up, and how we have those players, the best that will come through, or we have them feeding into the senior team, right? So the money must be spent there. Somebody has to start somewhere, because I don't see anybody doing it in a real way, right? So those money needs to be channeled, and of course,
Jovan Reed, remember that we have 20 million in debt.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, so we have to look at our own. I just think that the whole culture has to change in terms of how we prepare these players at the different levels, right? You look at the high performance center. What are we teaching those guys there?
Najem Williams saying the West Indies is planned. Roxy, you understand, right, Roxy?
Yeah, man, go ahead, man.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
The West Indies is planning to play 5 first-class matches a season. For a player to play 25 matches, they have to play 5 seasons. That make a lot of sense, Najem Williams. It can't be that. It must be more matches per season. Good point. I love that point. Go ahead, Roxy.
Yeah, man. So we have to invest in the players, and those players that are coming through, they have to understand the sort of investment that we have made in them. And we don't want to know that when they come to the senior level, they are pretty much the prima donnas. So because they know now that they can make money outside, but you must remember, look here, it started based on my investment in you. And I need some returns, meaning the people of the region. We have to be serious, man. If we're not serious, man, we'll be constantly chasing our tails. It calls for good leadership, sir, and a vision. If they don't have it, we'll always have these programs, and we can talk as much as we want. We'll never be able to compete with the rest of the world. I can tell you that.
Alric?
Well, these set of cricketers that we have, really, I don't believe there's, based on what they have displayed so far, that there's any real hope for them. So the money that the West Indies are getting from
it's projected to get. Say projected, and this is my estimate. I want to make that clear.
Projected
but
to get from the ICC.
I don't think it is far off. And I challenge anyone in the West Indies hierarchy to challenge the figure.
Mm-hmm.
They will need to start some grassroots programs. So this generation has failed. So we have to look to the next generation. So the next generation can't come and have the same mindset as these players.
Mm-hmm.
We have to start at the grassroots level, right across the region, from Guyana all the way up to Jamaica, to get these players to be playing a lot more 2-day cricket for the younger ones and 4-day cricket, and to develop that sort of that mentality from now, because we all know that West Indies over the
Just
years.
a minute, Ali. Javon Reed, very good idea. The next time we have this forum, we'll do so. Very good idea. I will really consider it. We'll really consider it, and the next time we will do so when we have this forum. Thank you very much for that, Javon Reed. Go ahead, Alric.
Yeah, so my belief is that they need to start at the grassroots level for the next generation and change the mentality and the thinking. So we have to invest more. We have to get more sponsorship into the game because a lot of young boys are not playing cricket. We have to find some way to generate the interest once more in West Indies cricket for people to start playing the game. And for those players who are interested, we start at the grassroots level, and take it all the way up to the top. That's the only way that we will see real improvement in West Indies cricket. Because these players, current players, they are hopeless.
Absolutely.
Coming to your Laxi, but there's a conversation going on between SB, who said that and Sheldon Smith is really about the money in the game and the importance of India in the game. And we should not overlook that because although West Indies is probably getting $4 million a month for the next start in January, India probably is going to get about $12 million per month. India always get more because that's where the ICC makes most money. So they give back more to India. Actually, some of what West Indies is getting is because of the money that is coming out of India. So India is the country that get the most money from the ICC. But again, their population, their sponsorship, their media rights is the one that brings in most money into the game. So it's a good conversation that Alisa Esby and Sheldon Smith are having. Yes, Rock. Who did I cut? Sorry, the person may continue.
Yeah, I was finished.
Okay, yeah, I was just in agreement with Alric. And when I look at the rest of the world, are they having this kind of problem?
Yeah.
Can't we learn from them? Because those players are well paid and they are committed to their country to play, to represent their country, and they are well paid.
Yes.
What is it about us as West Indians? Why we can't make that transition mentally?
But I think one of the things is that this generation is really the guinea pig to the big money. And maybe that's one of the things that is affecting us. This generation is the guinea pig to the big money. The set that is coming after, I really expect to see much better from them because I don't want to call anyone name, but I've seen young Jamaican cricketers who play for West Indies under 19 team. I've seen them training even out of season. And that is a very good sign. Without any coach around them, they're going through their drill. And that is a very good sign. I just think that this generation is the guinea pig to the big money cricket. Now, gentlemen, I really thank you for coming on. I really enjoy the show. We have almost up on an hour. I think next week, Sunday, we should come back and discuss the West Indies test team that should go to Australia. I really think we need to look into that because I don't really know who is going to play the test cricket. I thank the fans in the community for their comments. It was very good. And so I don't remember the person who made a comment that next week we're going to take that on board and may activate it. So it was a very good program. But please remember, click on that subscribe button in the right-hand corner. But gentlemen, there's one name that I want to bring up. Brandon King. In Australia, he looked the most assured West Indies batsman. Whether you're from Jamaica, Trinidad, Brazil, Australia, wherever you may be, you would agree that for the 5 matches that the West Indies played in Australia, Brandon King looks our most assured batsman. And I said we are going to discuss test cricket next week. Should Brandon King be in that test squad to Australia?
That's a yes.
The answer is a clear yes.
What do you say in the comments? Should Brandon King be in that test squad to we know that Brandon King comes from a well-established family. We in Jamaica knows that. We know that he has good mental capacity. He's a captain of Kingston Cricket Club. Should we be looking at Brandon King to captain this West Indies T20 team? Mark you, Pooran is there as the captain. Powell Yes, everybody think that he's a good leader, but his form is not so consistent. Do you think that it is time that Brandon King, Sheldon, you can give us, we will discuss it next week, Sheldon Smith. We'll discuss it next week in details, because we're going to try and pick the test squad next week in details, and I'm looking forward for you to contribute. Sherman Rogers say yes, 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 Brandon King should be in it, you know. But should Brandon King be seen as a possible leader for this T20 team?
I don't believe so at this moment. No. So the person I'm looking, because clearly I believe I had high hopes for Puran when he was given the chance to lead the team, but he has proven that he is tactically not as astute. And the best person I see that should be given the leadership of the white ball team is Jason Holder. But the thing is, will he accept the mantle of leading the team again? But he's the person that I believe should take the team forward. He's the most experienced player that we have on the team right now. He has been there before. He had reasonable success in his first stint until he kind of fell away in terms of form and all of that. But I believe in terms of getting smarts, I believe that Jason Holder is the best person to lead the white ball team in the near future. And I think Powell, we'll have to see a lot more from Powell. He did well in the CPL, but we need to, for at the highest level, can be having people learning certain tactical things while they're in the heat of the battle. We need to see that cricketing awareness before you get to the highest level. And it showed that Puran was really out of his depth in terms of his selection of bowlers and even his field selection, field placing. I couldn't believe that he had 3 men behind square and he gave away a free hit.
No. I can't blame Puran for that.
Who you should blame?
Listen, I blame the fielder on the boundary. He should have seen the fielder on the boundary backward square leg, because if look, the PS bowler is running in, Puran is not up to the stump, you know. There's what you call an angle of parallax. And because remember that nowadays the umpires do not stand in line. The umpires stand in front of the line because the camera have to have access to the line. So even if Puran was judging it from where the umpires stand, it may still throw him off. The fielder on the boundary should have seen that 2 men were to his right and stop it. I do not blame Puran.
I agree, but at the same time, it is the captain who sets the field, and Puran is the wicket keeper.
He sees it from all angles.
But exactly. He's the one that sometimes the keeper just say go square leg, and then really the captain say go square leg, or go behind square, and him not really set you exactly where you have to go.
No, but he has a better view in terms of where he's
a PS bowler running in Roxy. You bowl PS. You bowl PS when you're running in the keeper down the road.
No, I'm saying when you think about setting a field, you will be the keeper being the captain. He has access to all the angles.
Yeah, but that is so when
he can tell. He should be able in a position.
Roxy, remember that when the keeper is setting the field, he usually comes up to the stump to do it.
Yes.
And but he was standing back to the PS bowler.
Make it even easier.
Make it even easier.
No, because you have to take into consideration the angle of parallax.
No, Carlton. He's a captain.
The fielder and the back. All right. He's the captain. But what about the fielder and the backward square leg boundary? Him don't have any sense? Or him don't know the game? Just a wall on man, a tree with around there, so he is seeing it clearer than Puran.
I take that point, I take that point, but I'm saying the blame will have to be laid square at the feet of the captain.
Yes, sir.
Who is the wicket keeper?
Yes, sir.
He's the one who is sending players at a particular position.
Well, you see, on this forum,
let me say this.
All views are contended.
Yes.
We contend.
Let me say
contended all views on this program. So I made mine, you made yours. Roxy making this.
Yes. But on the point of it, and who should lead the white ball team? I hear Alaric. We've tried Jason. He's the most experienced.
I don't think Jesse wanted for political reason.
Well, I don't know if he wants it.
That's the only challenge.
Yeah.
Huh? Come again?
I think the only challenge if he would take it back.
Precisely,
I don't think he
because he was there before, yeah? And you know, we moved away from him to Pollard.
I agree with you, Najem Williams. I agree with you. We can't blame Puram for that. I agree with you. Go ahead, Roxy.
Okay, yeah. So I'm the problem that I have with this team that and even how we organize, and in any organization you have to have succession planning, yeah, and so you must have some players within the pool that you choose from who you look at as possible leaders and how you bring them into the team. You follow what I'm saying? So really and truly, we should not be guessing now who should be the next successor without going back to where we're coming from. And yes, Holder has the experience. But have we done that sort of succession planning? You can't look to King. Rovman did well in the CPL, but does he have that amount of experience to captain at the international
and does level? He has the runs? Does he has the runs too?
And can he hold on the spot permanently? Because he has a problem with batting spin, and people know, teams know that. So we have a problem where leadership is concerned, and I'm afraid.
And the person that we're looking forward to, that the West Indies have invested a lot of time on.
Yes,
is Ekmaya. But he has proven that he's not committed to the cricket. So he's a late starter. Exactly. He would be the prime candidate.
Yeah, but
if he had gone to the World Cup this time around, and based on this debacle, he would be the prime candidate to replace Nicholas Pooran. He led the West Indies under 19 to victory already. He has captained the West Indies at a younger age. He is captain of the Guyana Amazon Warriors. Mm-hmm. And he has proven that he has a good cricketing brain. But his commitment is where we will have a problem. And I don't believe they should even look to select him to even represent the West Indies until he can prove to the region that he's serious about West Indies cricket. If you want to go play franchise cricket, go by all means, go ahead.
Yep.
And leave West Indies cricket alone. Mm-hmm. But he has not shown the commitment.
I agree with you. If Ekmaya can build back the confidence, if Ekmaya can build back the confidence of the West Indies people in him, and he's committed to the game, I think he's a very, very good candidate for the captaincy going forward. Thank you so much, gentlemen. It was a good program. Thank you to this wonderful community for sharing your views. I've read as many of them as possible. So I want to say, have a good day and take care. Gentlemen, stay on the line. So all the best and have a great day now.